Well, let's bring in Congressman Michael Waltz. He serves as a member of the House Armed Services Committee from the great state of Florida. So at the touchscreen here, this is Kramatorsk, which is where that attack was on the train station yesterday. Sloviansk, which is just to the north of that, is an area that's said to be a rallying point for Russian forces as they start to move into the Donbass region. This is an aerial photograph. There's the rail line, and there is the train station there. And then, as we can see as well, I'll just take that off. This is the aftermath of what was going on there. When you see what Russia is doing to the civilian populations in this region, what does the United States need to do to help Ukraine out?
Yeah, this is the Russian way of war. This is what they did in Afghanistan and in Chechnya, in Syria. Now they're doing it here, but the difference is the entire world can see it. We need to help the Ukrainians, phase one, defend against this new offensive. The Ukrainians have a tough choice to make because most of their military is stacked in the east. The Russians are trying to outflank them, but also keep the Ukrainian military fixed and pinned around Kharkiv and Kyiv. That's going to be very tough for the Ukrainians to manage. We need to continue to give them greater defensive weapons. General Milley was talking about how effectively they're using landmines.
As you're talking about that, let me go to the next map here, and more than 50 people now have died. So the next map here, this is where the fighting really is concentrated now, and Russia is trying to reinforce this area here. I imagine that the Ukrainians are going to try to send forces from elsewhere to try to meet them here as well.
Most of their army, about 2/3 of their army, is right in this area along these World War I style trench lines from the first invasion in 2014. The Russians, you will see, also come here, and I would not be surprised to see a feint up around Kyiv to keep the Ukrainian army fixed and to not be able to come rescue the rest of its military here.
That's one of the things I was wondering is if you start to move Ukrainian forces toward the east and Donbass here, do you leave Kyiv potentially open for another attack from those forces that are regrouping in Belarus? In terms of what we should be doing, David Ignatius, writing in the Washington Post, said the West should step up its assistance and move quickly to provide Kyiv with heavier weapons to resist a savage new Russian assault in the southeastern part of the country. If Putin persists in his illegal invasion, Ukraine has every right to fight back with whatever weapons it can obtain. Czech Republic is giving them T-72 tanks. Slovenia announced today that they're going to give them the S-300 surface-to-air missile system.
They were waiting on us to backfill with a Patriot system. The Slovenians were.
So I mean, we've got so much stuff we could be giving them.
The British also were giving armored vehicles. They've finally given the Harpoon anti-ship missiles that, frankly, the Ukrainians were asking of us last year to defend their ports. So it's getting there, John. This is a race against time, and we have got to move faster. But importantly, I would personally like to see and have pressed the Pentagon on this to give them offensive weaponry, to give the Ukraine, stop this false distinction between defensive and offensive.
Let's go to the overall map here, because you were saying before we went on that maybe give Ukraine something where they could launch more attacks into Russia.
That's right.
They did it in Belgorod.
That's right. In Belgorod, they hit that fuel depot. And if we leave all of Russian logistics unfettered, then they would be able to continue to push and push and push more men and material. And at some point, I would like to see, I mean, this is the longer term, give them the offensive weaponry, not only to hit those logistics, but to go on offense. And are we prepared? What does victory look like? Ukraine taking back Crimea, taking back eastern Ukraine and restoring their borders? Or is this White House really just given enough to move the trench lines and settle into a stalemate?
I fear a stalemate, then an armistice, and then you've got South Korea.
I fear it's the latter, and you also, Putin then has time 3, 4, 5 years from now to take another chunk. That's not acceptable. We have to help Ukraine win.
Congressman Michael Waltz, great to have you in. Good to see you.
All right, thank you,
Hope you have a good weekend. Thanks. Shannon?